Oh, look at that. We're good. Because I went to my YouTube account to see what was going on, and I never saw any notice or flag on my account or anything like that. So I just tried again here, and it's letting me through. So
Letting you through. That's good.
yeah.
I got a text last night that a friend of mine died yesterday here in Edmonton. It was his sister from Terrace, BC, who connected with me. He was an alcoholic. His wife was a brutal alcoholic. She'd probably been in
Oh,
hospital most of this year. Um,
whoa.
like I mean, just so when the paramedics arrived at his house, he was already dead. So they don't know how long he was dead for, or anything like that.
Oh,
And she was beyond. Well, in fact, they took her to the hospital.
right.
So just tragic.
That is.
What was really tragic is he was part of our men's group on where we have breakfast every Saturday morning,
Oh,
every second Saturday,
yeah.
and then his wife, his previous wife, was killed in a motorcycle accident, and this was in 2023.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to us, but tragically, he was remarried within 8 months
Oh, wow.
to a gal who had an alcoholic problem as well as physical ailments, and well, it's just snowballed for
Yeah.
both of them.
Oh,
So we don't know whether he was drunk, fell and hit his head, or what.
right. Oh, that's so sad.
Crazy, it is. Yep.
Yeah. Ah, that's hard. That's hard. Oops. All right, let's grab some charts and check things out.
Yep.
Amongst all,
Absolutely.
yeah, it is. It's crazy how much bad news there is. It really does weigh on me a lot, Ian. I don't
Mm.
know what else to say about it. It's actually, before we get started, be curious. Um, there's a song I'd like to share with you that really. Actually, you know what? I'll just share some lyrics. The weight. Oh, here we go. Let me just bring it up. Yeah. Here we go. The state of the world has been on my mind. Its weight on my shoulders, demanding my time. Something is missing. It's hard to stay sane. Why do the answers seem lost and arcane? May war stop once and for all and cast off the violence that has us enthralled. May healing not just be for the few. May peace be found for me and you. I speak of a message said thousands of times, yet we smile when it's mentioned and roll our eyes. It may be naive, but I must believe inside every human there's kindness still. Hope is a fire that burns in us all, if only an ember, awaiting your call. To rise up in triumph, should we all unite? And the spark for change is ours to ignite. I believe this message is worth our time. There are people who've suffered, yet conquered the climb, who've sat through the stillness, through darkness and light, and found love in the colors between black and white. May corruption turn foe into friend. May self-awareness help us transcend. May forgiveness be given despite lives that were lost. For isn't it peace that all of us want? The state of the world has been on my mind, demanding my conscience and all of my time. Was there ever an age where it all made sense? Or am I reminiscing about lost innocence?
Quite the poem.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, sorry, I made the screen big there. I don't know how else to describe how I feel when I hear these tragedies. It's heavy. It really is.
Yeah.
And I think, and I fear that this whole operation, as much as I'm optimistic of it, I do recognize that we're probably going to see another division. You know, what we experienced in the past 5 years. I think that we'll see that intensify even more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what does happen. I think the my approach to dealing with it has changed in the last, especially in the last couple of years. You know, feeling much more dependent on trusting of turning towards God.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many things going on in the hearts of men. You know, in the same way that, you know, here we are, just two guys. You have no idea what's going on inside my head, and I have no idea
Right.
what's going on inside yours. The
Yeah.
kaleidoscope of thoughts, emotions, experience, etc., in both of us is beyond the capacity of either of us to understand or comprehend. But God does. And when you multiply that by 7 billion, you know, you have that in itself is a kaleidoscope, you know.
Yeah.
It's back to the whole pixelation issue that we've talked about. You know,
Yeah.
you got this one big kaleidoscope, and then as you look closer, you've got these minuscule, smaller kaleidoscopes in the forms of countries, provinces, cities, towns,
Mhm.
villages. Then you get down to the families, and then the individuals. And it's amazing to think that our world is what it is today, given all of that. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow, it's, you know, given my present predicament with the fund that we're dealing with,
Mm.
you know, God has really given me an ability to laugh in the face of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I learned as a pastor how to deal with death, you know,
Right.
and it wasn't just then. Even after the ministry, after I left the ministry, you know, there were courses I took on death and dying, and you know, you learn to accept it as not just a reality. It is part of life, part of living. You know, dying
Mhm.
is part of living.
Yep.
Of course, you know, when it hits closer to home, like when my dad died, man, I was like a crying baby, you know, all the time
Mhm. Mhm.
for days. Um, and then when my mom died just 7 years ago, dad died, what's got to be 17 years ago now.
Mm.
And so those kind of things, those ones really hit hard.
Yeah.
But it is tragic to see, especially when you know how somebody must be feeling. We don't know necessarily how they're feeling
Right.
or what they're feeling. We don't know their feelings because we're not them. We're not inside them. We can't be. There's no way for us to know, but we can comprehend
Mhm.
the extent of which they are feeling the emotions they're experiencing. And yeah, it's, I could see that poem really touched you and really reaches down into what I call the beautiful abyss
Yes.
of our souls. God has called me in the last few days. I've been just in some of my journaling. I've been thinking of the beautiful abyss that is God.
Oh, yeah.
Where He wants to reveal His mysteries to us, and so it involves leaning in. The
Mhm.
same way that a surfer has to lean into the power of the
Yeah.
wave, and the snowboarder has to lean into the power of gravity to let it carry him down the hill.
Hmm.
Um, so important to lean into God and um, let His power just move us
Hmm.
closer to Him. Um, not just move us physically, but our ability to comprehend
Yeah.
and see and experience.
Hmm.
It's amazing.
Hmm. What a how we are fearfully and wonderfully made
We are.
to be such an interface with this physical matter reality and be an instrument for His will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one thing I've stopped asking is why.
Right.
Why are we going through this? So
Right.
I've been asking more. What is it that you want me to know?
Hmm. That's beautiful. What a great way to look at it. And I say usually whenever there's something very, very challenging, I usually I go through the emotional turmoil of going through it, but I do always return back. What can I learn from this?
Yeah.
What is it? How is it that I'm supposed to grow?
And I think in a lot of what you and I are talking about, um, I am turning more and more to the Lord for um, revelation,
Mhm.
because I think I do believe that it's very possible for new businesses to arise that
Oh,
never existed before. But those new businesses will come out of revelation from God,
yes.
where He will say, well, look at this, something we've never seen before, but an opportunity.
Yeah.
But even when it comes to an algorithm, looking at a different approach altogether.
Yeah.
Just opening our hearts to Him and saying, "What do you want me to know about this?" You know,
Hmm. Hmm.
and He'll just plop an idea, a thought. Like, I've had more visions in the past and dreams in the past 2 years than I ever had before in my life,
Yeah.
and they are absolutely gobsmacking. Just so anyhow,
It's like that final piece of the puzzle that just, oh, that's how this goes together.
yep, beautiful. In fact, I'll send you the last vision that I had of what what I what God showed me He wants to do in shift.
Mm,
I'll send that to you.
that'd be great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess back to the
Now we can. Oh, this is the nature of market analysis. Many times we don't always do market analysis. Bitcoin dominance, definitely still my favorite chart to check in with, just to see where we're at. A little bit of a pullback here today after some accumulation. I think this is probably not so much people selling Bitcoin, but rather some people finding some faith in, or at least wanting a dollar cost average in these low crypto prices on the low altcoins, because that's exactly where things are at. Ethereum still hanging out nice and low.
can I
Looks like,
can I
yeah.
back you up? Why do you say it is your favorite chart?
It's my favorite chart to pay attention to the season of altcoins. As Bitcoin dominance Bitcoin dominance gives us more of an indicator in the direction of the crypto markets. For instance, when dominance drops, it's not usually because people are selling Bitcoin. It's more so because more money is going into altcoins.
Right.
And so when the dominance drops, that gives us an idea of, okay, we're probably going to be going up for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, when dominance drops, or when dominance rises, it still doesn't mean that, yes, people are holding on to their Bitcoin for sure. But they're also saying, it's more so that they're saying, I want to stay away from these altcoins. And because people get scared, right? So I like it from that perspective. It helps me get an idea of where Bitcoin is in the bigger scheme of things, simply because it gives us leading indicators as to where is the liquidity headed.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Ethereum, the low that we bumped up against there a couple days ago, that was on that would have been Tuesday. It's been equalizing ever since. Zooming in on the 4-hour chart, we can see that basketball bounce was pretty solid. We aren't even really consolidating yet. I would expect us to test that one more time, or possibly even be on a downward trend where we see it go and test out the next level, which would be 28.44. And that would just follow suit. I mean, this dip here wasn't down very far, but it definitely couldn't maintain much above that line. Coming back up, retesting, wasn't able to reach previous highs, although it did go over the trend line. This drop here went down a full pivot point. This one here went down another full pivot point. Oh, there's my finger.
Yep.
So likely, if it's going to go down, it'll probably bounce off the next one. That next one doesn't have a whole lot going for it, though. Oh, no, there it is.
Yeah.
This old high here.
Yeah.
So that would provide some, this area here would provide some support at 28.50. Or, yeah, about 28.34, 28.40, 28.50.
That's quite a drop.
It is. Yeah.
Great time to be buying.
From here, yeah, it's a 13% drop. I would be dollar cost averaging. I mean, I got these markers. I put these markers up a month ago, probably. It was it was beginning of September is when I marked these out, saying, careful guys, I think we're going to be heading down for a while. So that feels good to be right. I'm not always right, but when I am, I like to gloat. Oh, except for COVID. I did not like that one. Okay, so this is now onto Cardano. Cardano so far holding on to this level. It's too early rather to tell what's going to happen. We may see some consolidation here. Whenever we see the lines converge like this, there is usually some time where the price consolidates. If everything holds out pretty good for the rest of this week, it's already Thursday. Usually by this time, especially by the afternoon, things start to diminish in volatility, and we see less movement in going into the weekend. And cryptos seem to spring back to life on Sundays before the main markets do, because they don't open till Monday. So this here, we're just watching to see where it's able to maintain this level. I have bought up all of the positions that I sold up here. I don't know if I told you this, but up in this area here, I sold 25% of my holdings in ADA, and I dollar cost averaged my way back down. And there on Friday, I made that purchase before our meeting.
Yep.
Well, that was Friday. Where's that? That was here.
Very
that
good.
Was at 60 cents, and I just made I made the last of the position when it hit the yellow line. So
no good.
Yeah. So I feel good about that. I think I bought around 73 cents US or Canadian rather. And that's good. I was able to increase that that amount that I took out. It's about $1,500. I
Mhm.
increased the amount of ADA that I hold now by about 15%. Because, from here, it was the 7th of September, right here. And yes, for a few days after I sold on the 7th, I was worried. I was like, oh no, don't tell me I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it did drop down. And I bought once in here as well. So starting 24% off, I started positions. Took another one down around this. That was Friday. Another at 30% off. And then the last one at 41% off.
Hmm.
So feel really good about that.
Yeah,
Increase the
bet you
size
do.
a lot.
Yeah. So, go back to that.
Yeah.
So on the 7th, when you started selling, um, how do you, obviously it creates an emotion when you see you sell and then the market goes up.
Yeah.
It creates oh, that was bad. Um,
Yes.
and what made you sell at that point? Because there was a few days of consolidation there, as you can
Mhm.
see. So what would have made you sell at that point as opposed to waiting for it to break down or up?
Great question. The technical analysis actually did suggest that we were headed upwards simply because we bounced off of this trend line here and we had nice good strength up against the outer trend line, the longer
Sure.
term trend line.
Yeah.
But what happened in this area here was that Ethereum, or rather I should say, the big boys, the JP Morgans and the Chase banks and what's it called?
Sure. I
Micro
know who you're
or
talking
something
about.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, a bunch of those companies came out and started talking about how they just. Oh, hey, Audrey's here. They started talking about how the.
Oh,
There we go.
hey, Audrey.
At that time, they started talking a lot about all these ETFs that they were selling, the whole new bunch of ETFs ready for sale. And so when I see companies putting a big push on selling ETFs, I know that they are playing the futures. And so they are banking on selling a bunch, taking that liquidity and waiting until it's on sale. No different than what I do. And so when they went on sale, when those ETFs went on sale at higher volumes, I said to myself, they're not going to do this unless they plan on buying it on sale, 20 to 30% off.
Okay.
And so that's what prompted me to sell, was that I think this is going to be what we call a bull trap, where people are thinking we are going to go up. And the technical analysis said that it would. It was positive. But then it didn't take long. I'll bring back to the chart so you can see how it played out. So this here is the area where everyone got excited. Why? Because we had a completed A, B, C, D.
Yep.
When it went down, it was in this area where at that time it was towards the end of August, I think. 20th. Yeah, this is like the 20th here. Around here is when all those companies said, we want to sell Ethereum. We want to sell Ethereum ETFs. And so now let's go quickly to Ethereum at that time. Right there, there's the end. There's the 20th, right? So Ethereum had just hit all-time highs, basically, pushing up against the previous all-time high. Not really creating an all-time high. Like we didn't push above it very much. I think it was like maybe $50 or something like that.
Yep.
So it was at this point, zooming out,
Yeah.
there's the previous high back in 2021. At that point is when the institutions unleashed a whole bunch more ETFs. And that's when I said, I think that they're going to try I think they're going to try to push the price down so that they can take the liquidity that they get from the sale of those ETFs and not put it on chain. They don't want to put it on chain. They want the price to go down. And they have the ability to do this because of the exchanges. And so the exchanges are the new bank. And so that's when this price came back up again, this was September 7th, going back to ADA, September 7th is when I sold. So if I move the chart over there and we just say blindly what it is that I did, I sold right after a potential new C.
Yeah.
It's still A, B, C, D. And this now is a potential C. So I sold right after that.
Where would the A be?
The A would be replaced here.
Yeah.
If we were to extend to a B, it would become A.
Yeah.
When it hit this trend line, double tapped it. Went up on the first time when it hit was 13th of September, and then it did it again a week later on the 18th. That gave me the confirmation that I made the right choice back on the 7th. Now, by that time, I had lost. I was down 17%. If I would have sold then, yeah, it would have been better. But I'm okay with that because knowing that the price was going to drop at least 20% from where they announced it in Ethereum. So then I went back and I was like, okay, so what's our target? Well, here's 20%. There's 23. That's to this pivot line here.
Yeah.
The next one is 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Next one after that is 35%. So just knowing how these markets are, whoopsies.
What is creating? What creates your pivot points? Are those Elliott wave things, or?
That's a really good question. I'll go back to ADA because it would be good for us to build them, actually, because ADA got deleted for some reason. The main pivot point that we have here right now is this big yellow one. And we classify a pivot point based off of the price action and how it bounces around that point. Pivot points can take many forms. Sometimes it's, like a round number on the price. It's just a psychological level that people are like, oh, it's $1, I'm going to sell. And then the price is to pivot. But typically speaking, these pivot points are incremental in percentages. And so what we do is that we look for common places where the tops and the bottoms seem to meet. So what does that look like? I'm going to grab a line here. This line here is going to be, I'm going to start it right here. This is the second yellow line. I'm going to make it, let's make it red just so, actually, you know what? I'll make it green.
Not much of a difference.
Not much of a difference, no. I realize that. I'm going to go ahead and just make it
a bright blue. Yeah, that's even better.
Oh, pink, yeah. Okay, so what I do is that I'm looking for zones where the highs and the lows repeat themselves. So we see this low here.
Yep.
We can see that it was actually a high here.
Yep.
And look at that. It also had some resistance to the price here.
Yep.
But it also had a little bit of support there.
Yep.
Right. So that's a pivot point. And so what I do is that I take the line and I just put it right in the middle of all of that so that I get an idea of where that is for the future. Now, what I typically do is I'm going to go ahead and look for a closer one here. I'm going to find them quicker. Here's one here. Sure. Touch point right there, touch point there, touch point there. Yeah. And I would say that this one is really the next one up from the yellow line.
Okay.
So what I've done in my trading view is I have templates. So I have the ATH line, which is all-time high, but then I got R1 through 5 and S1 through 5. What this does is it allows me to just quickly grab whichever type of line I want. R signifies resistance, and S signifies support. I believe that we are probably in the middle right now. So I'm going to go ahead and grab R1. So now that forms, yeah, and I'm going to say it's right there. Then, because that one there, yeah, this is actually technically here. That's R1. Now I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste it and put it into R2. And we just go up to that next spot. It's already there. Thank you very much. And R2, I have it where it's colored just a little bit differently.
Yep.
Let's go to R3. And yeah, there it is right there. Just because we've got these touch points here that also coincided with touch points there, there,
Yep.
and there, and there, and probably before. Yep.
Sure.
So that one is R3. And then we'll go to R4 here. And I would say that's actually pretty good. It kind of pushed up pretty hard here, but most of the points are actually, no, you know what?
I think you're going to have to move it.
This one is here. Yeah.
Yep.
That's the point there, because that's where we find it there. And then, of course, again there. There seems to be that there would be a one in here somewhere, maybe on the 4-hour chart. I'm just going to zoom in for a second and see what we can find for definition back here. Yeah, it was a while ago. That's why we don't really see it on the daily chart so much.
Yep.
But in here, there's another one. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this back down. This is number 4. And then 5. And that one, I would imagine, we'll find lots for that in the recent times here. Back to daily. Yeah, that 5th one is that next one up. Okay, then what I do is that I work my way down. But working my way down from this point means I have to go back all the way over here before the election. So from the yellow line, well, yeah, I'll start from the yellow line. I'm going to say this is one here. Pretty close to the next one. You know what? I'm going to go between the two of them, I think. This one is support 1. Let's go to support 2. And yeah, so does that help? I know I'm probably just taking a little bit too long to do this now.
No, this is good. I like seeing how that was. I mean, it actually looks like a what's that word? Fibonacci, lines.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not. I see that you made them, created them by virtue of, as you say, price action. Price action controls it all. So, yeah, I see. I got you.
I don't even know where this one is. This one goes way far back. Yeah, it's in there. Okay, so yeah, that I'm glad. Yeah, that is. You're right. It is like a Fibonacci, and of course, remember I'm on a logarithmic chart, so the lines do get closer together as they go up.
Yeah, I still haven't figured out the difference between that logarithmic and algorithmic. No, not algorithmic. Is it algorithmic?
You know what? It's logarithmic. Yep.
Logarithm. What's the other one?
Normal.
Oh, normal. Okay.
The best chart to see it is on Bitcoin.
Is what?
On Bitcoin.
Okay.
To see how this works. So this is logarithmic. And it looks like the price hasn't really gone up a whole lot lately, but that's just, again, because the numbers are getting closer together.
Sure. Look at that, eh?
If I go to normal, then it's to scale.
Yeah, crazy.
But when I'm to scale and we're considering where is it going to go next, in order for me to find out where it's going to go next, I have to squish this down.
Yep.
In order to reach the next point of, wherever we're headed. Right now, Bitcoin is at a $2 trillion market cap. It's expected that in this next phase of this transition, the objective behind the Genius Act was to see this go up by 5 trillion.
Up to 5 or up by 5?
Up 5. So we're going to be
7 trillion. Wow.
Yeah, because this is a global market here. This isn't just a U.S. market anymore.
Boy, that's a Bitcoin for everybody alive on the planet.
Yeah.
Or
not quite. And actually, it's 1,000. If it's 7 trillion, that would be 1,000 for everybody on the planet.
1,000 what?
Bitcoin.
No, I think we have 9 billion people. Oh, trillion. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
And if it's 9 billion, then that'd be, I think there's still like 1 billion people that aren't even online yet, so, or have even had access to it. So yeah, that's how those charts end up being so crazy. When I go to logarithmic, it's just easier to do my charting. Where is it going next? So we went with this. We got the pivot points in. I don't really have anything else. I mean, gold is still hovering around that $4,000 mark, up or down about $10, $20 or so. It's not really decisive at the moment. This is consolidation. We are at a Fibonacci level right now. In fact, let me just go and bring that up a little bit more to the apex there. So you can see that all-time high, when it retraced, it bing, hit that Fibonacci level like a bell. And consolidation ever since. That was October 28th.
So if it happens to break down below that Fibonacci level, how often do you use Fibonacci?
I really only use it for projecting, like giving myself targets for taking profit or cutting losses.
Now, are you on the logarithmic chart on this one?
This is also logarithmic, yeah. I'll switch it because it is better on gold to have it on normal. And I don't usually use Fibonacci unless we're at extremes. If we're measuring all-time highs or all-time lows, that's where I'll start using Fibonacci, because that's an idea of what kind of impulse and retracement we can get. If we have price data that is in a similar price range that we've had in the past, pivot points have a greater weight than Fibonacci lines. They're still good, they're approximate, but pivot lines I find are a lot more accurate in determining where things are going to go. So I don't use Fibonacci much, only if we're at the extremes where we're creating new highs or new lows to get an idea of what can we expect.
Okay.
Silver still same idea after the all-time high that coincided with gold's. It's been consolidating in this range here, and who knows? We'll see where it goes. Japanese still being manipulated with a little bit of a pullback here this week, but we are very well aware of the fact that the Bank of Japan has made absolutely no bones about it. They are printing to oblivion, telling their people that our currency is worthless. And so they came right out and said it last August. So that being said, we're not going to see anything really different for the next little while. If there is a crisis, we'll probably retest some of these old highs from 2024, but it'll continue to inflate until the reset's done and everybody's on Bitcoin or whatever the gold standard is going to be in that realm.
Okay.
Whoever comes up top of the war, basically. US 30, same kind of deals I've been talking about in the past. This extension here, we call this the market accumulation. Dangerous place to be going long. Dangerous place to be going long. Good for you if you made money, though. It did go up 5% over the last 63 days. So with some good leverage, you probably would have kept on winning for a while. But I would definitely be closing those positions and waiting until we figure out what's happening. This dip that we had here, this was a $2 trillion loss out of the market. And I say that with common words. It didn't get lost. It just got moved over from one asset class into another. And that second asset class isn't being thrown up in here yet because it's over here.
Yep.
Bitcoin. And ETFs mostly at the moment. In fact, I don't know if I said this. I think I said this last week, but the ETFs are being issued at a rate 6% higher than Bitcoin is being mined.
6% or 6 times? I guess if it was 6 times, it'd be a little bit.
Oh, 6 times would be crazy. That'd be jumping right out of the gate and trying to chase after gold with 300 because they paper contracts on gold are 300 times leverage 300 times. Bitcoin is currently 6%, and that's a funny number that they would choose to leverage.
Yes, yeah,
is because the 6% is also the interest rate of the Fed. Injective token. This is another good coin. Lower market cap. I would say mid market cap altcoin. That is very much aligned with what I like in ADA, which is interoperability between smart contracts.
Yep.
This is the thing. This is what I've been harping about for a long time. We need to get away from the idea that there's the best coin. They're all really good, and we all need to find which coin helps us accomplish our financial goals best. Back to XRP. Still hanging out over this trend line. We did create a new low. That is definitely a new low from the previous low. And this high went higher. So this is actually called an expanding wedge. Very rare pattern. And it's not a very concise wedge simply because of the banker's candle starting things off. But with higher highs and lower lows, this is really anybody's game. So what I default to, some people say, oh, it depends on which direction it came from is going to determine which trend it takes. But my philosophy is very different. I don't look at it from that perspective. I look at it from an old trend line perspective. I always remember that the higher time frames govern the lower time frames. And so this trend line here is what we should have been able to keep. Since we didn't, I would say that we're going to retest it and continue a downward decline. Now, I don't think it will necessarily follow this line. In fact, if it were to follow a line, I would venture a guess. No, you know what? I don't see it following a line at this point. It's going to be finding a pivot point.
Do you would you look at this in the 1 week, in the week timeline?
Yeah. This here, with all recovery zone, this is accumulation technically.
Okay.
Because this this was the all-time high up here. Yeah, and again, just like Ethereum, it pushed above that all-time high, but it wasn't able to keep it. So it is an all-time high, but it doesn't count as far as a trend goes.
And that spike down was that banker's candle, right?
Yes, that was the big day there, whatever that was, end of October. Oh, 10th of October. That was already almost a month ago. Wow. This one's an interesting chart. I find it curious because it is not trending like other coins. This is BitTensor. BitTensor is a very, very large learning language model host, but their target client is Google, Meta, X, even. They want to provide, and that's what they're building, is that they're building an interface for financial trade, basically the trade route that people would be using for these big LLMs, these legacy LLMs. So this coin here is going to end up being the layer 1 coin for a bunch of L2s that are providing centralized AI services. So I watch it. Why do I talk about this chart? I don't buy it. I don't have anything to do with this. I watch it because I find it curious how it's creating new highs. No other coin is doing that right now. And I think that's because we know where the liquidity is going. Whenever we see these big drops and it's like, oh my goodness, Ethereum's down and Doge is down and Injective's down. Even Bitcoin, it dipped below $100,000. Where does it go? They're like, oh, we lost all that money. No. You did. You lost all that money, and the exchanges took that money and put it into liquidity forms in new forms of exchange. That's what BitTensor is. It's a new model of exchange. Tokenizing tokens of LLM. And token in LLM is just it's a measure of processing. It's I don't even know how many bytes are in one token, but AI measures its compute in the form of tokens. Well, BitTensor is going to be one of the largest distributors and exchanges for LLM tokens amongst the legacy models. So it's creating new highs. That's a very positive trend. I think that means that we're getting closer to the time. Why? Because they are definitely going to get the liquidity sooner than, say, desync. Speaking of sync, that's desync sinking in price. Why? Because this is a small market cap. I don't even think are they 100 million? They're doing great work. They're doing the same thing, except they are decentralizing the compute for LLM models. And you can go ahead now and install an LLM on their hosting, which is decentralized, so it's uncensorable. And you can pay in cryptos, so there's no transaction that has any attachment to your identity. And where else was I going? Oh, and you can start training your own LLM from scratch, open source LLMs on that platform. So they're doing a good thing. And I think that they're still going to do very well, all things considering. The reason why things are dropping is because these are the people who are just fearful. Yeah, market cap's only $43 million. So, but this is where you get that cognitive dissonance between what a good choice is, right? This is a good model for doing business. Desync is one of the pioneers in this. Although I don't appreciate that they're on the Ethereum network, I can appreciate what they're doing for people. Decentralizing open source LLM models. So you can privatize your data and you can claim all that data that gets created by those LLMs as your property. Why? Because it's private. You submit all of that data to those centralized services like the BitTensors, and people investing in Meta and all that stuff that's getting distributed into their infrastructure. BitTensor is a big part of that infrastructure. You're surrendering your data. Look at the terms and conditions. You do not have governance over the storage of your data. If you would like that, you got to treat your data like you would your ID, private, or anything else that you want to be. I like the one thing that Audrey Lynn said last week. It's not that I have something to hide. It's that I have nothing to share. Okay, let's go back. Oops. Let's go
That
back to
comes
trading.
from the movie Anon. That
Oh,
saying,
does it?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think the last words in the movie are, "I don't have anything to hide. I just don't have anything I want you to know."
Oh, nice. Yeah. So yeah, desync is low on price. And it's because the people who expected returns when they saw that they weren't getting them, they liquidated faster than they were before. That's all. When you look at who's doing the selling, it's all of the people that are, testing things out with $200, $300, $500. Audrey, people just like us, we did that back in June. I don't even want to see. Let's go ahead. I'm curious because it would be interesting. June 2024, 15th, right there. Let's grab the closing date. I am down 78% on this sucker. That's okay.
Is that when you bought?
Yeah. I've been dollar cost averaging too. Like I have been adding some positions as it's gone down,
Sure.
but not much. It's a small market cap. It's very small market cap. It's under 50 million. Before it was upwards around 100, I think. Let's go back to coin market cap here. Market cap. Oh yeah, shoot. Even in 2024, it was 230 market cap. And even peaked out at the end of at the start of January at 521 million. So down to 41 million right now. This is the nature of cryptos. This is the nature of altcoins. I think overall, I think probably overall since the June, I'm down 60 some percent, but I've been still buying. So when it does return back to June, I'll probably be up 3 or 4 times if it comes back to when it comes back to the price that I bought at, which let's go back to that one. Somewhere in there. Oh, that's June.
You don't lose unless the project dies.
Yeah, exactly. Or if you close the trade.
Right.
Yeah. So
when you're selling, that's what you're doing. You are closing a trade.
yeah.
But you can always reinvest, even if you reinvest higher, because it's never, if it never's going to go that low again, you do lose if you invest higher. But so be it.
So be it. Exactly.
Might do that wiser.
Correct. And what's also nice is that the longer you do this, the more you recognize that some of these are going to burn. Like some of these are just going to be gone. What's an example of one where it's like, oh yeah, I've got a bunch of Clearpool, and I'm looking at it, and their community is still active, they're still busy, but they're not generating any new business right now. So will this one die? I don't know.
Optimum died.
Optimum, yeah. I was worried about that one. So it happens, and when it comes to things like desync, you just grin your teeth and bear it, so to speak, and recognize that this is what the nature of the business is, and you never risk anything that you could lose sleep over if you lost it, and you'd be fine. And there's also another thing that happened to me that lets me be calm about the whole thing. I'm bringing up the gold price again on the weekly chart to December 2011. December, right there. In this area here is when I bought gold. That's when I was like, oh my goodness, this great reset thing is just ramping up. I gotta hurry up. Otherwise, I'm not going to be ready for when the digital IDs come out. And I bought I don't know, I took 70% of what I had. I was even selling stuff to buy gold during this time. And then I lost money. Right? Lost money. But I never sold the gold. In fact, all the way to here, this is December 15. I was buying all the way down in here. Then I was still buying even into 2017, 18, and 19. And we hadn't even gone, I think, June 19 is when we broke above those old highs. And it was exciting because that's a midpoint in the consolidation.
Yeah.
So that was exciting. I remember everybody. And then it went up and we had COVID and it came back and retested where I last bought. Haven't bought since. And I was down from my original purchase. I was down. In here, I should say I wasn't down anymore because I did buy a large amount in this area here.
Sure.
This was May, April, June, July of 2019. I lived off of that during COVID, what I put in there. So what happens as you do this, you realize you're going to buy high sometimes and it's going to look like shit for a while. And it did. Like, during this time, I was also starting up my first business. And so having that savings go down in value was actually detrimental to my business because I didn't have the capital that I thought I was going to have because I thought the Great Reset was coming up tomorrow. So, when you're down 25% on gold, you don't sell it. You just hang on. Just hang on.
And you're talking like what is that? 2011 to 2000 before it hits back to where you bought it?
Yep.
2019?
Yeah.
That's 8 years.
Yep.
And that's part of my character is that I am not a patient man. And, I've got to have, that's why scalp trading is so attractive to me because I can see results in 5 minutes,
Yep. Yep. And
that's
you can
providing of course my trades are good.
Yeah, exactly. I've made good money in short amounts of time. I remember I was actually trading the US 30. Let's see if I can find the day. No, I won't be able to find the day, but I can find the week because I would be able to identify it. When is that 17? There's June 17. Where is this? That's January 18. It might have been in this stretch here. In this stretch here, there was a day where I was like, you know what? I'm going to risk this. I'm going to risk this $60 and I'm just going to hold on hard to it. And I just wanted to do as a test. It wasn't all that I traded. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take this $60. I'm going to leverage it hard. And first thing in the morning when the orders come in, I'm just going to flip the switch, throw that $60 in there and see what it does. And in 5 minutes, I made $2,400. It was fun. Exhilarating.
It was, yes.
Because it's like going to the casino and being like, am I going to win the jackpot? It's no different. When scalping, the trick is to remember that is always going to be there. That will never go away. You simply recognize it, acknowledge it, give it the thumbs up and be like, yeah, good job, ego. Nice for you to knock on the door. Yep. Remind me that you're still around. And granted, there are times where listening to that sucker is wise. Because I've had it. You think about it with the ADA.
Listen to what sucker?
Oh, that ego.
Oh, yes.
Because sometimes it results in a timely sale. Right? Like what happened at the beginning of September. My ego was getting involved for sure on this choice. I was doing it so level-headedly, but when I sold that and it started to go down, I had the same feeling as when, I'm I'm making a big win somewhere else because
Yeah.
I'm just watching it go down. Like, yeah. And then there was even a part of me that in this area here, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should change my trade strategy. I should change it because I think it is going to come back and test this. And I should change it so that I'm not putting so much in here and I wait and I put way more in at the bottom. And I was already leveraged more towards the bottom than the top. And I wanted to thin that out even more. But the ego did that. And so what I did instead of that is I stuck to the trade plan. If you stick to the trade plan and you lose, it's a win because you stuck to the trade plan.
Yep.
That's the mentality that you have to approach that. Oh, yes, I was tempted to not make my purchases according to my plan because I was certain that it was going to go down to here.
Do you ever use the chart where they measure FUD or not sure what they call it? It's it's the greed. It's that greed chart.
You know, I don't usually follow it too much. I can usually tell by the naked chart what it's doing. But if I am looking to see, you know, what is the general consensus, I just go to CoinMarketCap and I look at this real briefly.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Fear and greed. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Any questions? Comments? Market cap 3.4 trillion.
Crazy, eh? So in a fear market, the tendency is to be selling, right?
That is yes. If there are a lot of short positions, then the index goes towards fear.
Now, can't you? Doesn't TradingView have a chart for that?
I think it might. I've never gone looking for it though. Let's go look.
Fear sentiment. There's one.
Well, these are fear of it's a meme coin.
Oh, okay, I got you.
I'm not seeing anything there. Let's see if greed. Oops. No, nothing's coming up. I think though that if I remember correctly, that there is a panel. It might not be a chart. Let's see here. This is ADA.
Because that's all data, and you would think that data does impact the market as well. Because I'm not the only one that's asking about it.
Right.
There are other people that they want to see what the market is doing. Now, some people see that just on the charts.
Yep.
But is there something else? And again, getting back to the concept of the pixelations, is there a fine-tuning process that gets us closer to the moment as opposed to always looking at history? Because that's what every time we're looking at the charts, we're looking at history. The closer I can get to looking at being able to make a decision closer to the present moment, determining factors closer to the present moment, the better planning I can do, the better analysis I can do, that type of thing. Are you seeing what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are you picking up what I'm laying down?
Totally. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom into the 5-minute chart on ADA here, just as an example. Actually, you know what? Let's go to the US 30. So, because this shows us a little bit more volatility on a scalping perspective. So the thing what you're discussing is near and dear to my heart. I scalped with paper trades for 2 years before using real money and scalping. Before that, it was school of hard knocks and breaking my teeth with $30,000 of my own money.
Yep.
So this here, when I went to scalping, the thing that anyone needs to remember is still that the long-term time frames still govern the short term. And what gets difficult in scalping is determining, are we experiencing a trend right now on the daily chart? Is what we're experiencing relative to a bullish trend on the daily chart, or is it on the 4-hour chart? Because what can occur, on 5 minutes, I would say probably 2 hours. Because what can occur is, you show up for work, and even though the trend is upwards, right? You show up for work here and you're thinking, because you don't see anything else, and you're thinking, great, we got these highs, new highs all the time. Let's continue. And so you show up for work to scalp with the intention of going long. And the 5-minute chart, oh, of course, it brought me back to this unknown day. Oh yeah, this was it did not follow me. Here's a loose example. So coming into, oh no, that's November 2024. Actually, this would probably be good. When was this? It was Friday 10th. The trick, Ian, is that when you are on that 5-minute chart, you don't know for sure which way is going up. You can say, I think there's going to be a tendency of an upward trend today. But on that 5-minute chart, you won't really know whether it's going up for sure or not, because of how volatile it can get. Like this all here, what is this? An hour? A couple hours? Oh no, wait. What is this? Oh, this is a 2-hour chart. Shoot. Back to 5 minutes. Like it's so volatile on this chart, right? Like this isn't much. It's 1.29%.
Yes.
On 30, but that's 6,100 pips.
Yep.
That is a lot of volatility to happen within an hour. On scalping, that's tough. You might do USD, Euro USD scalping, which is sometimes a little bit better. I haven't tested that for a long time. And what I would do if I was to go back into scalping again, here's what I would do to make that work. Because you're right, the closer you get to the decision point, the more that you're going to make in the long run. Absolutely, that crucial decision point. Well, what I would do is Yep.
What I'm talking about, the closer you get to the moment, the present moment, I'm not so much talking about on a particular timeline. I'm talking about data that specifically influences the present moment. You can look at a 1-week chart and be looking back several weeks. Well, that's data that's several weeks old, but it's data.
Right.
How much is that going to influence this moment? I don't know. There's got to be other data that is easily readable that is going to be more influential on the present moment than data that's 6 weeks old.
Oh, yeah. I see. That data is
So I'm thinking, I guess I'm thinking more from a logarithmic perspective, in terms of not logarithmic, algorithmic perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Having a computer system that is tapping into data that it's reading, outside the brain of a man or woman, and able to read things that are about to happen or are happening now and influence almost immediately the current market. That's what I'm
Yes.
talking about.
Yes. Now I see that data would be nice. That data would be very nice. I know that when it comes to the institutional traders, they don't even look at the charts.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. They just look at the positions.
My friend who has his own algorithm, he doesn't look at the charts at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't particularly care to look at the charts. I look at it for historical data. When it comes to making the choices that I make, I'm always gravitating more towards the percentages. The percentages of volatility. I think that the key to, like, as far as building an algorithm goes, the key, I believe, is going to be that the percentages of the price action, not pivot points, not even any of the trading strategies that we've seen in the past. I think it's all percentages.
Okay, brother.
Awesome. Have a good rest of the day. And yeah, this afternoon I'll be able to pour through that spreadsheet a bit and
wonderful.
get
Yep.
an
And
idea of what.
I'd like to probably have a call with you and Doug and I talking about that, just so that both Doug and I can get your perspective on that.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let me know when you're ready to do that.
Will do. Yeah.
Tonight I have a 3-hour meeting, so from 6 to 9. So
Okay.
this evening is going to be out. If you happen to do that, get that done before, then maybe we can do it before. If not, tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good.
Have a good rest of the day.
Yeah, you too. We'll see you.
Bye for now.